On a turbulent flight, an arrogant businessman makes cruel jokes about a black woman next to him, thinking he can offend with impunity. But he has no idea who is sitting behind him. When his contempt is exposed, the truth about the woman's real identity and the impact of his words are revealed in a surprising way. Get ready for a story of unexpected confrontations and lessons on respect and dignity. Hello, my friends. I am Linda, and this is the Linda's Stories channel. I hope you enjoy this story. The morning sun shone intensely through the large airport windows, reflecting off the polished floors and creating a bright and bustling atmosphere. The constant hum of voices and the sound of suitcases being dragged filled the air, while a diverse crowd of travellers hurried in various directions. Amidst this hustle and bustle, Anthony stood out. Tall, with an elegant stature and wearing an impeccably tailored suit, he walked with firm and determined steps towards the boarding gate. His face, normally composed and controlled, displayed clear signs of irritation. The furrowed eyebrows and mouth set in a thin line revealed his bad mood. Anthony was known in the business world for his relentless determination and his ability to get what he wanted. At 45, he had already built an impressive business empire, becoming one of the most respected and feared names in his sector. His success was the result of a combination of sharp intelligence, hard work, and unfortunately, a willingness to step over anyone necessary to achieve his goals. That morning, his mood was far from ideal. A series of setbacks had marked the start of his day, beginning with an important contract that had fallen through at the last minute. To make matters worse, when he arrived at the airport, he discovered that his business partner, with whom he planned to discuss strategies during the flight, hadn't managed to secure a seat in the business class, which brought out the worst in him. As he approached his seat in business class, Anthony was already mentally preparing to turn the flight into a productive work session. His thoughts were abruptly interrupted when he saw who occupied the seat next to his. Sitting calmly with her hands folded in her lap was Janelle. A lady of around 70 years old, her dark skin marked by time and her grey hair carefully tied in a simple bun. She wore modest clothes, a floral cotton blouse and a long skirt that had seen better days. Her eyes, however, gleamed with a vitality that contrasted with her frail appearance. Janelle was the opposite of everything Anthony was accustomed to seeing in business class. Her life had been a journey of hard work and sacrifices. Born into a humble family, she started working at a young age as a domestic worker to help support the household. Over the years, she faced countless challenges, including raising her son, Luca, as a single mother. Despite the difficulties, Janelle always maintained a positive and resilient attitude. She raised Luca with love and dedication, instilling in him values of honesty, hard work, and respect for others. Her greatest joy was seeing her son grow and become a man of character, regardless of their financial situation. Anthony looked at Janelle with a mix of surprise and disdain. Immediately, the question formed in his mind. How did this woman get a seat in business class and my partner didn't? Unable to contain his indignation, he let out a sarcastic comment. Is the airline doing charity now? Janelle, accustomed to facing prejudice throughout her life, chose not to respond. She simply settled into her seat, maintaining her dignity intact. For her, this trip was a precious moment, a rare gift from her son, and she would not let a stranger's harsh words ruin her experience. Anthony, however, interpreted Janelle's silence as confirmation of his misguided assumptions. Feeling even more irritated with the situation, he continued, "It's fashionable now to bring the maid along on the flight," he said, his voice loaded with disdain. It was at this moment that a man, who was seated in the row behind Janelle, decided to intervene. He had overheard Anthony's derogatory comments and could no longer remain silent. It was Luca, Janelle's son. He stood up from his seat, with a stern expression, dressed in an elegant suit that rivaled Anthony's in quality and style. Luca was the embodiment of the success his mother had always dreamed of for him. At 38 years old, he had become one of the most respected and successful entrepreneurs of his generation. His path to the top had not been easy. He started working in modest jobs to pay for his education, always driven by his mother's example of determination. Over the years, Luca built a reputation not only for his business acumen, but also for his integrity and commitment to social causes. He never forgot his humble beginnings and made a point of using his influence to create opportunities for others. In a calm but firm voice, Luca addressed Anthony. "Do you have a problem with this lady?" The question hung in the air, charged with tension. "What you're doing is racism. Do you have any idea what that can lead to? It's a crime." Anthony, caught off guard by the unexpected intervention, tried to maintain his posture of superiority. With a disdainful smile, he replied, "Do you know who I am? Why don't you go back to your seat and leave me alone?" Luca, maintaining his composure, looked directly into Anthony's eyes. "Would you please apologize to my mother?" The revelation hit Anthony like a shock. His eyes widened, and for a moment he was speechless. The woman he had disrespected was the mother of someone clearly belonging to the same business world as he did. But Anthony, accustomed to always having the last word, wasn't ready to back down. With an arrogance born of years of impunity, he retorted that he wouldn't waste his time and that he had done nothing wrong. Luca, however, did not let himself be intimidated. He knew he had the power and influence to cause serious trouble for Anthony. But that wasn't his goal. Luca firmly believed that respect should be given to everyone, regardless of their appearance or social standing. "Sir," Luca began, his voice calm but laden with authority, "I am not here to threaten or intimidate. I am asking you to reconsider your words and actions. Mutual respect is the foundation of any civilized society." Meanwhile, other passengers started to notice the growing tension. Some looked curious, others uncomfortable with the situation. A flight attendant approached, concerned about the potential escalation of the conflict. "Is everything all right here, gentlemen?" she asked, looking from Anthony to Luca. Luca turned to her with a gentle smile. "We are just having a conversation about respect and dignity. I'm sure we can resolve this in a civilized manner, can't we, sir?" He looked back at Anthony, giving him the opportunity to reconsider his position. Anthony, however, was far from yielding. Years of privilege and power had hardened his attitude. He looked at the flight attendant, then at Luca, and finally at Janelle, who remained seated in silence, her dignity intact despite the insults. "Look," Anthony said, his voice laden with condescension, "I don't know who you think you are, but I don't owe anyone any explanations. If you and your mother are not satisfied, why don't you ask to switch seats?" The suggestion elicited a murmur of disapproval among the nearby passengers who were observing the scene. Luca took a deep breath, clearly struggling to maintain his composure in the face of Anthony's stubbornness. "Sir," Luca began again, "it's not about changing places. It's about recognizing that your words and actions were harmful and inappropriate. No one here is asking for more than a simple apology and acknowledgement that everyone deserves to be treated with respect, regardless of their appearance or background." Janelle, who had remained silent until then, finally spoke. Her voice was soft but carried a strength that came from decades of life experience. "Son," she said, looking at Luca, "don't worry about me. I have seen a lot in this life, and harsh words cannot hurt me. What saddens me is to see that there are still people who judge others by what they see on the outside." She then turned to Anthony, her eyes filled with a mixture of compassion and sadness. "Sir, I don't know what has led you to have so much bitterness in your heart, but I hope that one day you can see beyond appearances and find the goodness in all people." The words of Janelle seemed to hang in the air, touching not only Anthony but everyone around. There was a moment of reflective silence, broken only by the soft hum of the airplane engines. The flight attendant, noticing the tension easing, took the opportunity to intervene once more. "Ladies and gentlemen, we need to proceed with the takeoff procedures. May I ask everyone to return to their seats?" Mother and son decided not to prolong the issue then and there, preferring to address the necessary matters at another time. Mrs. Janelle asked her son to calm down, knowing that it would be pointless to argue with someone like Antony, whose arrogance seemed unshakable. Luca, though reluctant, heeded his mother's request, recognizing that she was right. However, destiny had another twist in store. Months later, their lives intersected again under unexpected circumstances. An important merger deal was underway, and the union of two large companies promised to strengthen both in the market. However, the CEO of the other company was none other than Luca. When faced with the situation, Luca made a decision that surprised everyone. He chose not to finalize the partnership, even though the merger had been planned for months. His decision seemed puzzling to the executives of both companies, who couldn't understand the reason behind this abrupt choice. As the days went by, rumors began to circulate within Antony's company. Some employees who had witnessed or heard about the incident on the plane started putting the pieces together. Soon, the true reason behind Luca's decision became evident. He was not willing to ally his company with someone who had demonstrated such a lack of respect and humanity. In the days that followed, the story of the incident on the plane began to spread. Initially, it was just conversations among friends and co-workers, but soon the media picked up the story. A video recorded by a nearby passenger went viral on social media, showing parts of the interaction between Antony, Luca, and Janelle. The public's reaction was immediate and intense. Many praised Luca and Janelle's calm and polite demeanor in the face of prejudice, while others expressed outrage at Antony's initial behavior. For Antony, the consequences went beyond public shame. Several companies that had contracts with his firm, especially those with a strong commitment to diversity and inclusion, began to re-evaluate their partnerships. Some publicly announced the severance of business ties, citing the incompatibility of values. Antony's reputation, built over decades, began to crumble. He found himself forced to make public statements, reiterating his apologies and promising changes in his personal conduct and in his company's policies. However, to many, these words seemed late and motivated more by public pressure than by a genuine change of heart. Weeks after the incident, Luca received an unexpected call. It was Antony, his voice laden with emotion. The businessman confessed that the incident had been a turning point in his life. He asked Luca for the opportunity to meet again, this time for a sincere conversation about how he had needed to undergo a transformation in his thinking and living. Luca, true to his compassionate nature, accepted the invitation. The meeting between the two men, which began tense, soon turned into a deep discussion about privilege, social responsibility, and the power of change that each individual possesses. Antony, with his lack of empathy and courtesy, paid a high price. Even regretting it later, he had to face the consequences of his words and actions, realizing that he not only lost an important deal, but also the opportunity to learn a valuable lesson about respect and understanding. The story of Janelle, Luca, and Antony showed that the true value of a person is not in appearance or social status, but in the respect and compassion they show to others. When we plant kindness, respect, and understanding, we create a positive and growing environment. If you enjoyed, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with a number from 1 to 5 to let us know how much you liked the story. Also, watch the video that is currently on your screen. See you soon.